Okay.
Okay, welcome everybody. I just have to let you know for Zoom purposes that this is being recorded to be set live at a later date.
Mhm.
So I just want to make sure we all agree to sharing this information publicly.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So tonight's topic, and we've discussed like some ideas about what we were going to talk about tonight because it's been like the whole month is gone. The whole month is gone. January is full steam ahead. So tonight's topic are the hidden benefits of setting goals. It's going to be a free conversation. There is no guidelines. There are no questions. Just that you've had some time to ponder the question itself. And I'm catching my breath because, of course, my goal was to be on time. And look, it's 8:03. So the hidden benefit of being on time is I'm a little out of breath. So just thinking and pondering this question that we've had in our mind for over a week now. What are some of the thoughts and some of the things that you've come up with? I know for myself to get us started, I was able to have dinner and do all these things because my goal was to be more prepared. So I'm not grabbing McDonald's, I'm not grabbing things off the fly. So that was my hidden benefit. So things of that nature are kind of what I want to talk about tonight. So introduce yourselves and I'll introduce myself at the end. Rachel, you can go first.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rachel McGann. I am an education director and a preschool teacher. And I am also a resilience coach.
That is awesome. I learned something new. I did not know you were a resilience coach. So that's good information.
Yes. Hi, good evening. My name is Jasenia. Well, I work for the Department of Children and Family. I won't say in what state. um, I'm not a social worker. I am an admin there. I don't know what else.
That's good enough. I'm Naisha Brown. I work for I'm a public school teacher. I've been doing this for many years now. My background is mostly working with in early childhood. I got my feet wet in high school for a couple of years. I loved it. Gave me a lot of perspective about why children need to work on foundational skills much earlier. So this is pretty much accumulation of why I brought these ladies together because we can see that our families are not setting goals sometimes and they're not being successful because like Dr. Tell me the correct way to say your name.
McGann?
McGann.
McGann.
McGann. It's yeah. In my defense, I met her when she was just all that. So she's had some beautiful changes in her life. She's been married since we last spoken. But so Dr. McGann, you've seen this play out in your family's lives where they're not planning their goals and it's really hectic just getting those kids out, getting them to school, working their jobs. So I feel like if we come together as a community, we can kind of pull together tips to help them get through this a little smoother. And none of us are experts, right? We're all still having those hectic days, but we know by tried and true practices that we're seeing improvements in our life because we've set down some goals and we don't always reach them, but there are some hidden benefits. So I like to start the conversation off with thinking about those benefits and you can definitely kick us off. So Rachel, go right ahead.
So for me, the thing about goal setting is when I think about goal setting, it needs to be more than just a broad goal because the difference between a goal and a dream, you can have all these dreams. It turns into a goal when you attach actionable steps to it. And so once you attach an actionable step to a goal, it keeps you more focused and it holds you more accountable and it gets you on the path. So even if it's a small step, and I have so many goals. I have like an ADHD brain.
we all have that in our generation.
So I have so many goals. I'm the person with the 300 windows open on the computer that I need to break it down to such actionable steps. I need to break it down really simply in order for me to be able to follow it. If I can't think every day, well, if I'm not going down a whole mile that I haven't made progress. I need to really say, okay, the little tiny steps, the little tiny actionable steps that I make that bring me closer to my goal, those are important. And I think not only does it force me to take action, it forces me to break things down into manageable tasks. And it helps me also with a lot of other things, but I'm gonna leave it to someone else and come back in.
Yeah, and come back in and think about those manageable tasks. Maybe think of a time where you did break it down, and if it wasn't broken down, it wasn't going to get done. I think for myself, yep.
Oh, so I can just in general in life, like I wanted to do what I'm doing now since I was 3. At 3 years old, I decided I wanted to be a school teacher. I hadn't even been to school yet. And I decided I wanted to be a teacher because my sisters came home and they were like, it was a weird story, but they jumped the teacher. And I'm like, well, now I become a teacher. I'm not going to let a 3-year-old. I mean, I'm not going to let any children jump on me.
Mistreat
And it
me.
was from then that I knew I was going to be a teacher. It was just that I was just going to be a teacher. There was no question about it. But I went through so much of my life not doing anything towards that goal. It was just I was going to be a teacher. And I dropped out of high school. That was helping me be a teacher.
Right.
So by the time that I realized, okay, I need to really set some goals, and I did this, I shared with you before by taking a Tony Robbins course. I don't know if you remember Anthony Robbins with the old cassette tapes.
Yes, we all had tons of them in our
Right.
closets.
And so, it was one of those old cassette tapes where it was like, well, what do you want to do? And I knew the goals already. I wanted to be a school teacher. I want to be a school teacher. I want my own apartment. I want a full-time job. This is what I want because I was sleeping on my sister's couch. I had a 2-year-old son at the time and nothing. Not I had a part-time job. We were struggling to eat. And what he said was that resonated with me. And I took the course for a long period of time. But what really resonated with me is that he said, okay, you have your 3 goals. Now, what can you do to accomplish your goal in 6 months? What step can you take in a week? What step can you take right now towards
Right.
a little tiny step that you can take right now towards accomplishing your goal? And for me, it was just a phone call. He said, okay, stop the tape and go do it. And I paused and he said, stop the tape and go do it. And I stopped the tape and I went and I made a phone call. And that one phone call, like seriously changed my entire life. And from that one tiny step, which was the hardest step that I took, was just a decision to take action, really catapulted me to what I consider to be success at the stage that I'm in. Like I would not change one thing right now for me as far as where I'm going.
Exactly. Well, that is a wonderful, that's exactly what I want our audience to hear. It's exactly what I want moms and dads to take away, that I made a phone call. No one says, okay, I'm gonna make a phone call and then tomorrow my life's gonna be different. But for you, that's exactly how it happened. And then for myself, and of course I want to hear more from you guys and for myself. But one of the things that I've been thinking about really is that our life, you talk about culture resilience. I mean, we've been resilient just to pull this meeting together. We had technical issues. We had to change locations. We had a funeral. We had to change the date. So we've been resilient. But one of the things I noticed about setting goals is that I have a child who's autistic, and that means that emergencies are not scheduled. That every day there could be something different. But because my goals are playing out in the background, I may not have to arrange for care because those are something I've already said. I know this is going to happen. Who are my 3 closest people I can call in an emergency? And those people are steady and they're always there. So that doesn't seem like a big goal, but my goal was stop having these emergencies and they're going to happen and you're not planning for them. So building that support team was a big deal. Meal planning. We see thousands of YouTube videos for meal planning and losing weight, but meal planning is not like for us to become these beauty queens. I mean, the kids have to eat no matter what happens on the 6 o'clock news. And we know we have bosses who feel like we don't never need to go home, so those type of hidden benefits that really take they take the sting out of the bite, right? Because we kind of had some plan in place. It wasn't happenstance. So Yesenia, please join in and tell us your story.
My story. Okay, so the benefits for me, it's more like setting a meaning in life, purpose. you know? So, um, that purpose, you have to focus in order to get to where from point A to point Z, wherever it is you're going to go. And I mean, at this point, I'm trying very hard. 2023 is that year where I'm
I
like,
know.
uh-uh.
Special tone to it.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't got time for you. I have goals in my head. I have things I want to do. And if you're not a part of it, it is what it is, you know? So
Right.
right now, I'm trying to come up with a lot of strategies. And my main purpose is to stay focused at this point.
Yes.
So at the same time, you know, my girls are grown, but I talk to them also because I want them to focus on themselves at
Hmm.
the same time. My son, he listens to me.
Yeah. He's very goal oriented. He's probably more goal oriented than all of us here.
Yes,
And
I
he's
mean,
young, so he's getting a head start.
yes. I mean, at this point, sometimes I talk to him and I'm like, why not listen? Why did I listen to myself? Like, why did I listen? Because he's doing everything I told him to do. He's doing it and it's working for him.
Yes, yes. So the hidden
So,
benefits I'm hearing from you are that just to sit down and think about what you want
hmm
actually makes you bring up the values and meaning that you have in life. Then all of a sudden these goals make you think, okay, no, I don't want to do X, Y, and Z with the rest of my life. So that's
right.
another benefit we don't think. We actually have to be intentional and think about, are
hmm
we living out a life that's driven by just whatever is happening in the moment, or are our values pushing us? And those
Right.
goals help us establish those values, right? We don't want to lose weight because we want to walk the runway. Them days are over. But we do want a strong heart so we can be around for these goals that we're setting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every day I get up, I'm like, I'm gonna work out.
Yes, I think that's exciting. Because we don't always know. I mean, you've spoken to a lot of people and they don't always even know what their core values are. They
Right.
haven't even stopped to say, this is what matters to me. And knowing what matters to you makes goal setting easier. It's almost like we want to set the goal, but what are we setting the goal to? What tone are we setting it to? So,
hmm
do you have any thoughts about that, Dr. McGann? Is that
Well,
what you want to be called, or do you want to be called Dr. Aulette McGann?
I'm actually used to Miss Rachel.
Oh, Miss Rachel, that's right, because you're in early
Well, Rachel is
childhood.
fine, but Rachel is fine.
Well, no, once you throw a doctor on it, that's it. We command our respect.
So, I mean, what I can speak to that is about the why. The why is the super important because that what brings you to everything. And there was a exercise that I did with, of course, another self-help guru because I'm so into I'm so into self-help. Where it was the 7 stages. It was called 7 levels deep. And so if you say your goal and it's like, well, why is that your goal? And then you'll say your why, and then you'll say your why, and you say your why, and you bring it down to 7 levels deep. And sometimes the why that you think it is really just surface. And once you get to the deeper level of it, it really, really pushes you. I
Okay.
had a difficult, so when I first heard it, I had a difficult time doing it because it I heard about the exercise at a time when my oldest son just passed away. And for a long time, he was my why. There was nothing else. Like I have my 2 younger kids, but I mean, I love them and I do love them dearly because this is gonna be, I love them dearly. However, when I had my youngest son, I was 19. And
Right.
so being 19 and struggling and getting through, like he knows a different part of me. Like they were born to Dr. McGann, pretty much. My son, he was born to
Right.
high school dropout, sleeping on a couch.
Right. He was once Jenny on the
Right.
block.
So,
Yeah.
so when he was gone, my why was different. My why changed, and it was kind of hard for me to get to those levels. So realizing that you'll have this focus and you'll have this why, but that's not all. It's not always. If once that changes, like you need to know what's deeper, and I had to go deeper past that because although I kept saying, "Oh, I do this for my son, I do this for my son," when I really went through those levels and it was a struggle for me, I realized there was something deeper inside of me that I did it for. and holding on to that actually made me be able to continue after losing what I thought was my why.
Right. And that's not an easy thing to come back from. I don't think you ever come back from it. Is you now, like you said, if you don't have those deeper anchors, something like that, and this is I want to keep a little secular here, but when you think about this is what we hear about in Bible terms. When the storm comes, what was the house built on, right? So those deeper levels are the anchors of building your house on something solid, because it's not if something happens, it's just when something happens. And
Mhm.
I'm always thinking of you, and we're so sorry for your loss. That's such a monumental thing that none of us ever imagined, right? But you've had to
Mhm.
imagine. So that's a good thing. And in some of our resources, if you could provide us in an email later the resources for what you read on those 7 levels deep, because that's true. And we have to do the work when we're not in crisis, right? Because when we're in crisis, there is no 22 pages of
Exactly.
101 ways to get out of a crisis. There is no
Mhm.
manual. So I would love to have that resource for our audience, that they
Oh,
can
I would
probably
definitely share.
refer to that. And that's the first time I'm hearing that, because I'm like you. I have 100 tabs open on the computer, and if you ask me on the spot what was my why, I'd be like, why? I don't know. Why are you asking me this? So that's something we need to think about. What are we using as anchors? And that's again, these are not the benefits that we hear when you have those very trendy set some goals. You don't plan to fail. You fail to plan.
Right.
It's much more to it than that.
I'm the person that writes a to-do list every morning and then never takes the book out of the bag. And then I come home like, ah.
I know. Or like me, I have shopping lists. This is my
Right.
shopping list that I don't think I ever buy anything on the list, but
So sometimes take it out of the book. That's the strategy I say. Take it out of the book and put it on the wall. On my wall right now, when I get up, I have my Dream 15, which is the 15
okay.
people that I want to work with, the 15 places I want to go, my 15 professional goals and my 15
Okay.
personal goals. And it's not filled all the way down, but as I come up with something and I want to do, I put it on the wall, but it's right there on the wall. And every
Yeah.
morning,
Okay, I like
it's
that.
like, you have to take it out of the book, because I still do the journaling, but there's times I'm like, okay, this. I close the book, and it really just never comes out of my book bag.
Right, right. And I like that you said keep it where you can see it, and that it doesn't have to be finished on January 1st. You said you're still adding to it, which is crazy. Pardon me, of course. See, life's distractions, but it's okay. Just send this voicemail. Somebody should have turned the phone off, but that's okay. So I like that you said it doesn't have to be finished January 1st. It doesn't have to be like, okay, I'm if it's not done by January 1st, it's never gonna happen. It could be a living and breathing document. It can be something that is evolving as time goes on. I love Darius Daniels. He's my go-to right now. I just finished up a you know, I think it's calling Dominate Your Year. I'm taking his workshop, Dominate Your Year. And he says, listen, you have to decide that you're just not going to be who you were last year when this year ends. Right. So that could
I like
be
that.
the
I'm
rest
writing it
of
down.
this year. Right. You just don't have to be who you were, and stop disappointing yourself. Just acknowledge where you have grown. So he's fabulous. I recommend him. He'll be in our resources. Been tremendous in helping me think about this in a different way, and think about what part of myself, that imposter syndrome. I know we've all heard about that, but we just lack the efficacy of believing that we are really who we say we are. We solidify that every day. I don't know about you, but I fight with that all the time. It doesn't matter how many degrees I have. I still feel like, am I the right person for the job? Can I do this?
That's because we tend to sabotage ourselves
Mm-hmm.
at all costs.
At
Only
all
because,
costs.
yeah, at all costs, because we're afraid. We know we have a goal, we know we have a dream, and we're working towards it. But the closer we try to get to it, the more we stop ourselves, because we're scared to see what's over there. We know
That's
we
a
want to
fact.
be there, but we're scared to get there. That's what. That I think that stops a lot of people.
It does.
Yes.
It really
Yeah.
does.
So
The
I, I
mindset.
I'm working. I'm actually reading one book. I can show you. I'm not promoting books, but I just want to
You
make
can
sure.
promote if they're gonna help us move forward.
Oh, I
The
like
Power
it.
of One More
I like the title. And
by Ed Millett.
Let me
Okay,
see
so
if I
this
can.
is a good book.
The Power of One More. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I like
So
that. The Power of One More, and
yeah.
definitely, I will add that into our resources too.
It's the ultimate guide to happiness and success. So
I mean, there's been a lot of good books this year that I've been lucky to, to run into. And one of
Mhm.
the ones was The Oasis. I'll have to get you the right title. But one of the things he said, because my mother is aging and my daughter's autistic, well, now son, let me get my pronouns right. Um, and they're doing this at the same time. So one of the things he said, create
Mm,
a list, and those lists have to be things that you absolutely only you can do. And then the other list has to be things that you absolutely cannot do. And then that's the list that you delegate. That's what you send out for other people to do. Because if you don't do it
mhm.
well, you might as well not do it. It also frees you up to do what you do well.
Yeah.
That's another reason why we are required to spend time with ourselves. That,
Mhm.
oh, spend time with yourself. Spending time with yourself means sorting out the details.
Mhm.
Sorting out the details. I'm all into self-care, but sometimes there is the work that comes with life that has nothing to do with our profession. It's the work that we
Yeah.
work on ourselves.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
that was
there's a few other books that I've been looking at. I'll have to get them for you to so that you can see them. But they're all like self-help books. I'm thinking that in the past year, these self-help books are like it helps you to change your mindset as how you're thinking. And
yes.
not many people see that, like, I'm still I do my why is it not coming to my professional development every morning. I still join it at 6:30 in the morning. I'm there. I'm listening. I may be half asleep, half awake, but I'm listening to everything that's being said because even if you're half asleep, it's still going in
Yeah,
there.
it's getting in
Oh,
there.
It's
yes.
still
Yes.
getting in there.
Absolutely.
So that's
Absolutely.
why 2023 I'm like, nope.
Mindset is super important because there's
Mhm.
things that you don't realize, like things from your past or beliefs that you grew up with that kind of hold you back because your mindset is different. For me, I think one of the major ones is money is the root of all evil.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That was line number one.
So it's like I honestly still feel guilty if I have a lot of money. It's like I shouldn't have a lot. I'm supposed to give it all away and
Right.
be
Right.
Mhm.
responsible because it's just ingrained. It's ingrained in me that the only reason I should have money is to give it to other people and make life better for them. But that
Right.
mindset piece,
Right.
you really just have to work on it, and you have to think of what beliefs or what things that you have ingrained in you that are holding you back, and
Mhm.
what beliefs that are bringing you forward. And sometimes you have to let go, and it's the hardest thing to do, especially if it's something that you were raised and it's just ingrained in your head. So
Mm-hmm.
to let go of some of those old beliefs. And so
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
I
And
think
some of go ahead. No, absolutely.
getting that mindset part right first, and you can have the steps, you can have the tools, you can have the strategies, but if you don't have your mindset right, that's the most important
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
thing that you need to get, and it's also the hardest. It's the hardest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It really is. It really is. And some of our beliefs, sometimes we see them and we attach things to make them real, right? Like you said, money is the root of all evil. Well, what did we grow up seeing people argue about? They argued about money. Or what did
Hmm.
we always hear? We didn't have enough for this, or money always came up, and it only came up in a negative way. It was like people were
Mhm.
afraid to talk positively
Exactly.
about money. So every opportunity we had to hear about it was negative. And again, this is again coming back to our core topic. These are the things that you need to sort out. Like you need to have a goal for your money. This is the first year, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but this is the first year that I had a goal that took priority over losing weight. I said, I need to know what my financial situation is. I need to know what I'm going to do about it, and how it's going to change. I mean, if I have not spent the last 20 years saying I'm going to lose 30 pounds, well, my bank account was like, girl, show some love over here. Like you got bigger problems than your scale, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's was I'm proud of myself that I've even stopped to think, and I think that's what started this whole idea of the hidden benefits. If I did not stop to think about what I needed in my life more than just weight loss, I would not have even thought about goals. And how can you set a goal, I want to go on a vacation, if the money's not there?
Right.
If the money is just not there. So
Absolutely.
yes, yes,
I think we should start thinking that way. We want to get there, and it takes the money, then you get the money. You work for it. And if you have to change jobs so you can get something that pays you more, then you go ahead and do it. Don't be afraid to do it.
right,
And that's
right.
where I'm at right now. I have to
Yeah,
Yeah,
stop,
taking that step.
stop, yeah,
yeah.
stop stopping myself thinking that, oh my God, what if I apply to that and then I get it?
Mm-mm,
Am I going to
mm.
be able to do the job? Hello? Every time you get a different job, they train you. So why wouldn't they train me to
Right.
get a job when I'm
Right,
making
right,
$90,000? You're still gonna get trained.
right, right. And also we can begin to think about, all right, so I have this time. I might not be in my dream job. I have this time.
Hmm.
And so, and I keep bringing up these hidden benefits because this conversation is a direct result of all of us having some sort of goal and having to think about what's getting in my way of that goal. You
Yeah.
don't think about even what's getting in the way if you don't set them to begin with. So I think my greatest push for this talk is to say, listen, write it down. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be achievable. They said write smart goals. No, just get it all out on
Yeah, I can't
paper.
with the smart goals. I spend so much time. The time that it takes to even put them together is annoying to me. I'm sorry. It
Right,
just is.
right. Like throw the smart goal thinking out. Just get it all out. Get it all out. To me, the smart thing is to get it all out because it ain't doing
Right.
nothing for you in your head, right? So that's the smart goal. I mean, I don't want to cancel out years and years of good research, but I am not a smart goal person. I believe in writing
I'm not
everything down you
either.
want to see happen, and then out of that you have that's your ingredients. It's like chops. Okay, this is what you have to work with. What are you going to keep? What are you going to get rid of?
Right.
Right? And we
And
do
then
have time. Just
and it
ask
really is
Netflix.
the what are you gonna do about it? I'm really for me, it's the action because that's the hardest thing for me. And a lot of people when I tell them they don't believe me, that's the
Mhm.
hardest thing for me to do is to take the action. The
Yes,
thoughts
yeah.
and the writing it down and the I mean, I can write a smart goal because I have to do it for work. So I can write a
Right.
smart goal. It annoys it annoys me.
Right.
But and making it cute. And I can make a poster and I can make a vision board and it could be cute and pretty. But taking the action is what's hard for me, which is why not only don't I write the goal and I don't go through the whole smart for personally, I just don't go through the whole smart part of it. But I also put an actionable step. I also put actionable steps. I cannot work without the action because I gotta write the action down. Like, what am I gonna do right now? Or what am I gonna do
Exactly.
tomorrow morning? Like, even if I can't do it to tomorrow morning, I'm gonna set an alarm right now to tell me to do what I gotta do tomorrow morning, tomorrow
Exactly.
morning.
Exactly. That's like Alexa is so terrible. I was like, ugh, me and this artificial intelligence, we really get along much better than me and my family members. I'd be like, Alexa, don't let me forget X, Y, Z. And then sure enough, like this meeting, she'll be like, okay, it's 20 minutes to your meeting now, you know? So
Hmm.
it's just setting up things around your life so that they are propelling you to action, right? They are propelling you to action. And it's Weight Watchers, believe it or not, and I'm not endorsing Weight Watchers, even though they did make the #1 weight loss program out there still. They're holding strong. They say, who do you want to show up to the world as? Who is it that you want to be? Like, what's your legacy? And so I thought to myself, well, I want to show up as, I'm showing up for the people that depend on me. I'm showing up for myself, most importantly, because we'll make it a point with the gym, but cancel that. Cancel that. So
Hmm.
I go to the gym now because I'm showing up for myself. I'm making sure that if I tell my daughter I'm gonna take you to work at 2 o'clock, I don't change my mind because my show is on.
Right.
So I don't want to change my mind because something comes up. You know, of course, emergencies come up. We're not talking about that. We're talking about little tiny foxes that eat the vine, little tiny things that eat up our time and steal our time.
Mhm. Yes,
And goals can be a good, steady way to save on time.
yes.
Yes.
But the vision board came up, right? So I set up my vision board. I wish I could show you a year ago, right?
Okay.
It has 3 things on it because I'm afraid to put stuff up.
What?
Oh wow.
Yes. So as I'm listening to the two of you talking, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna fill up my vision board because
Yes.
if I see it, I'm gonna stay focused
Yes.
and I'm gonna work towards what I need to get to everything that's there. So it's like I'm like, my goodness, why didn't I do it? I told you about it about a year ago. I don't know if you remember, Naisha.
I do.
And I have my book and I have everything that I want to put up, like circled. I just haven't taken it out.
Oh
We
wow.
actually started something like that. I think we brought the vision board book, and that was so great. I love that book. But
Mhm.
our brain is so powerful, and I know all of you have done this. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. This is we live on a cruise ship, so we're just checking in with each other. Are
Mm.
you okay? I guess she's good. We're on a cruise ship here. I live on a little cruise ship. I say that to myself because I really like to say that to myself. But and then there's little things we create for good mental health, right?
Absolutely.
But back to the vision board. And I'm sure all of you, Yesenia, Rachel, all of you have had this in your trainings, which is amazing. That our brain is so powerful, we can see anything. So if we say to you, picture a lion with polka dots and a pink hat walking down the street with boots, we all see it.
Yes.
Hmm.
We all see it. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter if you can't even not think it if you don't want to think it. I mean, right now, do you see a yellow lion with polka dots and pink bikinis on?
Yeah.
You know, we all see it. So if we can even transfer that to our children, that we can all see this. So I think it's a great thing that we can even pass some of these habits down. Because I always write about my mom was a hippie. The only thing she passed down to me was bad habits. I want to pass down some good habits. Now she did a lot of great things. Let me rewind the tape. Mom, you did a lot of great things.
But believe it or not, I'm a school teacher, and the hardest thing the hardest part is passing it down to my children. I could pass it down to other people's children.
But other people still should believe in you. That's what it is.
But when it comes to my own children, I'm like, I even tried to tell them I'm starting an accountability jar. So I said, I'm going to start an accountability jar. I have habits that I want to stop. And so I said, but I don't want it to be negative. I'm telling this to my children because I'm trying to teach them good habits. And I'm just saying, well, we should all start an accountability jar instead of it being negative, where we take something, where we
Mhm.
put something in if we do something negative. Let's put something in when we do something positive, and then we can at the end of the week have this little bit of money to spend. So my one child is like, oh, my one child that whatever habit she could possibly have to break. It's like my child with all of the habits that he needs to stop getting kicked out of school is like, I'm not accountability.
Isn't that the worst when
I
you're the
don't need any
teacher and
money
your
to spend.
child's
I don't want
causing?
any money. I'm not. But I think it's hard, even when it comes to um getting an allowance, cleaning up, things like that with my own kids. But in school, I'm like, I don't know. I'm able to do it to somebody else with someone else's kids. I don't know how to translate it into
Well,
homes. And I don't know how to translate it to them besides modeling.
yeah, besides modeling. It's funny because years and years ago, and Yesenia's probably so sick and tired of hearing the story. The Lord really put it on my heart to treat my children like strangers and they would be fine. Because I noticed that I could be having the worst possible day, but I still say excuse me to a lady at a coffee shop I'm trying to pass. I never bump her out my way because she's in my way. So it's like just give them the same courtesy that we give strangers,
Right.
and we'll be
Oh,
okay.
that sounds like that actually sounds.
So I started doing that. I was like, well, what would I do to a stranger? And then that's what I do. I always put on a face for the strangers. And not that we can't get real and deep with our kids. Of course, there's those moments.
Mhm.
There's moments where none of this advice is going to apply, right?
Right.
But in the everyday life, we can say, okay, I'll try to be kind. Like not giving my child that face when she's interrupting me, like, no, you not. You don't see me talking. I try not to give her that face, even though sometimes I'm not good at not giving her that face, but
Like I just did right now, right? She
I
walked,
know.
she
good.
opened my door and hands me a
Oh,
paper
really?
because she knows I'm in a meeting, right? And it's like, she said, "Can I have a snack?" So I wrote down yes. She closed the door and I hear her go, "Yes."
Hey, you're well. She's well
I
trained
missed
because
all of
she wrote a
that.
note. She wrote a note. She's well trained. My kids would have just busted in the door, would have probably hit
I'm
me.
hungry.
And this is so good too, because another thing is don't let things in your life be an excuse. All of us could have had an excuse not to be here, right? The
Mm-hmm.
kids, I have a meeting going in the back. I hope I'm not bothering them. They hope they're not bothering me. But to be able to just show
That's
up.
true.
I always say some of the most successful people, the only difference between them and people who are not successful, they just showed up.
Mm-hmm.
That
They
is
got
true.
Yeah.
there with their curlers, with their half-fed kids, broken down vans. They got there. They showed up.
Mm-hmm.
They showed up. But this is great. I want us to do this again. If there's anything you're thinking or anything that's on your mind that you'd like to add tonight, please step right in. I just really wanted people to know that it's just real people. I mean, we're in 3 different states. We have different size families, different needs, and but we're making it happen. We're a community. We're a community for each other. We're a community
Yes.
where we're at. So if there's anything you want to
Mm-hmm.
add, please jump in and add.
Um, I'm gonna say we should just make sure we know what our motivation is. What
Yes.
is going to motivate us to that goal that we want? Whether it's whether you have 20 goals, if you have 50, you can reach all 50 of them. You just have to know what's gonna get you there. What's your motivation?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can just do it for yourself. Because if you do it for yourself, you're gonna feel really good because people are gonna say, "Wow, she didn't do it for so and so. She did it for herself."
Mm-hmm.
And then that's if you have kids, that's what they see. So
Yes.
they're gonna follow suit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my things. Just know what your motivation is.
Yes. So sorry, I'm clearing my throat, getting emotional.
Um, I would like to add, and this is piggybacking off of something that you said earlier, Yesenia, is don't be afraid to fail because that's what's going to hold you back. And failure
Mhm,
is how we learn and grow. If you're scared to
Mm-hmm.
fail, then you're never going to take that step and you're never going to know how to problem solve. And
mhm,
so you have to get over that fear of failure, and you have to see failure as a blessing and failure as a way for you to learn and grow and achieve.
mhm.
Yes, and maybe that's a topic for another show if you guys want to come back or want to invite other people.
Love.
Um,
We'd
when you
love to
feel
come back.
like the goal is too big, I think what I'm encountering now is when something seems impossible. Like that's a whole different strategy of planning and preparation. So, I mean, of course, Rachel, you can speak to that because getting your doctor's degree is a mountain climb for sure.
Right. And honestly, there were many times in life that I thought it was impossible. There was, and one of them, like a couple of months before I got it, I was just like, I can't do this. And so,
I mean, but you left some major pieces out. I mean, yes,
right,
I mean, my goodness, Lord, there's lots of major things, but I mean, I don't want to say it publicly, but you have some major surgery going on. So
right,
that was a big deal. Like most people consider that life changing. So yeah,
Mhm. And
yes,
nothing is impossible. When
yes.
you break it down, you
please.
know what it spells, right? I'm possible.
That's right.
Okay?
I never thought about that. I'm telling that
Yes.
to my children tomorrow.
That's right. I I love that things we say to our kids that we that help us. One of the things I say to my kids, and I say it with endearment. I love saying it. They're probably sick of hearing it. Every morning when they leave, I tell them, "Come back smarter. Come back smarter." Yeah, every morning, you have one job. Come back smarter. That's it. And I love that.
Feel that too.
I love it. It's such a warm feeling. I'm waiting for it to hear my kids say it to my grandkids. And sometimes they say it, but they're creating their own traditions and doing their own things with their kids. They're doing a much better job, I think, than I did, but that's okay. I gave them the building blocks.
They learn from the best, the foundation.
Yes.
Right. They had something to work with. When they get a promotion, I'd be like, you had something to work with. Well, thank you so much, ladies. This has been great. And I just wanted it to be a candid conversation. It wasn't meant to be structured or have 10 steps to how to achieve X, Y, and Z. It was just moms and showing that we're getting up here and we're doing it every day. And some days it feels great, and some days we feel like, well, that didn't go so well, but but it's no excuse to not show up again and try again. So
Absolutely.
well, thank you so much again. This
Thank
is
you.
the hidden benefits of setting goals, and brought to you by 6 Kids and 8 Cups of Coffee. This will be our episode 2. We are definitely trying to cause momentum in our communities, especially our brown and Black girls, that we're out here, we're making magic happen, and that we're very excited about the future. And all are welcome from every walk of life, but we're very excited that we had the chance to kick this off. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.